What's going on, people? It's Mr. Store back here with a review show, and I haven't got a clue what Dylan was doing at this moment of time, but it's,
Getting a chocolate bar out of the cupboard.
Yeah, but he's not sharing with no one else. Look, I can see the panel. Everyone's drinking, but me and Stephen are the only ones not eating. But people,
it was.
It was. Everyone's eating, but me.
That's the perks of doing it in your kitchen.
Right, how's everyone, people? Like I said, it's a review show. We're going to talk about yesterday's game. There's lots to talk about. But yeah, before we do start, please, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button on the way to 12k. Please do hit the like button and comment below, people. What's your thoughts about yesterday's game? We're going to get everyone's opinion in the panel, so people show some love to the panel. Who should start with first? I'll start with the Welsh Wizard, because people, I will put their hands up. I was late. MacBook was a bit playing up, so I will take the blame, and I do apologise. So forgive me. First of all, let's start with the Welsh Steve. How you doing, Welsh Steve?
Yeah, not too bad, Ben. I hope you lot are good as well.
Yes. Next up, I'll start with my ex-schoolmate, Dylan Astle. How you doing, Dylan?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate.
Oh my God! Why, Dylan? I've had a bad start, and you're trying to do me there. But
do you know what? I've been waiting. What, since quarter to nine, and you come on and you go, oh, no, and then I'm the last one to be brought in. Great. I know where I fall on the pecking order.
And last but not least, we've got the man himself, and he was a guest on the box with me. And people, it's unbelievable. Dave didn't say much in the box. Can you believe that? He spoke to Chris Williams' mum most of in the box.
Oh, lovely lady. I tell you what, Edith, Chris Williams' mum.
Legend.
Made a friend for life there. She's a fabulous lady. Absolutely fabulous. And I'm living in a world of Dylans. We've got Mr. Astle there, and we've got young Mr. Brown, who is probably one of the cutest Forest fans I've ever seen in my life. What a top little lad he is, little Dylan. Dills.
He's here.
Is that Dylan?
Yes, yeah, Dylan. People in the chat, show some love to the main Dylan. To the main Dylan.
Oh, bless
people
him.
Show some
what
love.
a top little lad.
Are you red?
He's a Sonic youth, that lad.
Yeah. The people love. Show some more love to little Dylan, not big Dylan, little Dylan.
I'm not taking this anymore.
We've got big Dylan. We've got on this show. We've got big Dylans and little Dylans. We've got all the Dylans covered.
We live in the Dylan world, people. But like I said, people, we're going to talk about yesterday's game, and like I said, there's been a lot to talk about. And like, there's been a lot over those of social media's talk. Loads of managers have been sacked as well. 2 managers have been sacked, but Cooper has not been sacked yet. But that's what we'll talk about throughout the show. But yeah, before we do start, let's go through comments as well. And like I said, people started commenting as well before we even started. This is from Rashid Sood. How did Rashid? With the Ruben Mail, Malika stormed the dressing room and blasted players. That doesn't sound good. And I think Cooper is a match tightrope. That can't be good. Like I said, that will be talked about throughout the show. As well from Gregory, Mr. M was angry on Saturday. Kevin says, who's late this time? I put my hands up. I was late. I do apologize. Paul, hope you're all well. Get right this time. Last year, we wanted to be in the Premiership. 100% Paul. I'm 5% sure it's better be in the relegation zone in the Championship. This is from another Paul. Through his member to show. If you want to be a member, people, the dollar sign, it helps me a lot. Even chaps, hope we're not down too hard enough for another late giveaway yesterday. Remember, there's no such thing as bad points. Still a quarter of the season to go. Key players returning. And yeah, and that's again, it's something that we can talk about through the show. How you doing, Eve? Good to see you before the game, Eve. As well. Good evening, Mr. Dore, Dave, and Steve. Hope you are well. Love seeing you, Dave, yesterday, Mr. Dore. I'm sorry, sorry about the photos, Dave. Don't say sorry, Eve. Nothing to say sorry about. Okay.
Eve's camera has got a filter on it that stops ugly faces being on it, and it worked a treat yesterday and kept mine off.
Good. Eve, well done. As well, how you doing, Razdad? Hope you're well. How you doing, Liam? Hope you're good. Jim, Bob, hope you're all right. Jonathan Clegg says we should be finding players not for not passing the ball in the final third. That's what's going to cost us, not tactics. 100%. Callum says, well, if it gets sacked, it'll be a big mistake. And as well, there's lots to talk about. And last before we do start, Dino says Cooper will be gone if we don't beat Leeds. Right. Let me go. Let me go for you first, Dylan. What's your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Thoughts on the game. First of all, 2:00 came, team lineup. I looked at it and I went, just looked at it and just put my head down. I looked on the bench and went, do you know what I mean? I know a couple of them were coming back from injury, but I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, just give them 60 minutes. I'm not bothered. Try and get the game done within 60 minutes. Bring everyone else on. But I was wrong. I think the starting 11 did absolutely brilliant. Better than I expected. Do you know what I mean? Considering the players that we were missing, like your Serge, Loddy, people. I think Toffolo did a job. I think even Williams seems to have was linking up well with Brennan, and I could see him running past him. Do you know what I mean? Linking up and stuff like that. And I think the team selection was good in the end. I think the performance well and truly deserved 3 points. I was quite pleased in a way. He made one or two mistakes, but I was quite pleased for Dennis because he looked like a proper player. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, well, watching the game, I was probably like the rest of you. I was like, do you know what? This is the Dennis I know who can play football, and you could see him passing the ball and stuff. But then it was just the one chance that I can remember where he tried to take the player on, and all he had to do was square it to, was it Brennan or Gibbs White, and we could have got a second. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, small steps, and obviously, but yeah, I think we dropped 2 points definite. We should have won that, no problem. Do you know what I mean? And what can I say?
Steve, what was your thoughts on the game?
I really enjoyed it, actually. I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a good game. Much more entertaining than I've been in recent weeks, especially against Spurs. And the Newcastle game wasn't bad, but yesterday, really enjoyed it. I thought we played really well. I agree with Dylan that the lineup was a bit interesting to begin with, but I thought the boys who stepped in performed really well. I thought the balance in midfield was really good, which has been a debate in this show recently, and I thought that balanced well. I thought Mangala probably had his best game since he's come back, because he obviously before his injury he was outstanding against Everton away when he at the beginning of the season. Dennis, I agree with Dylan. Dennis is starting to look like a threat now. Our front three, they just couldn't handle us. We just terrorised them. I'm sure we'll get more onto the midfield earlier. I thought their midfield were good. The three of them, Montinho, Lamina and Neves. But Neves was going deeper and deeper as the game went on. He's playing like a quarterback by the end of the game, and he's dictating the tempo, which was a little bit... I thought we could have pressured him a bit more. But overall, I thought it was a really good game. I thought we deserved to win. I thought Wolves... and everyone's on about this possession, 28% at home. But what people are forgetting is that, and someone on our group mentioned it, I think it might have been you, Dave, said, you can have all the ball you want. If you do nothing with it, then what's the point? We had 17 attempts at goal. I think they only had two.
Two?
But then they had one out of the two. So on the ratio, so it's which way you look at it. 28% at home is pretty poor, but then we should have won the game. We should have been out of sight. I think if the chances may have fell at the wrong, like Dalilo had two chances he skied and dragged wide. One that Dylan just mentioned, he should have squared Gibbs White. Before Dave, as I say, the only thing I would say of that chance, right, is if you watch it back, when Dennis makes the run, the only thing I can think of why he didn't square. To be fair, the guy did cover Gibbs White pretty well. It's not like Gibbs White was completely open and he's completely free. There was cover there. So I'm not trying to defend Dennis here a little bit. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed it. Should have had his 3 points.
last but not least, the man himself, Dave. He's been missing for the last 2 weeks. He's been spending for 3 weeks because it's just been good. Right, people. He's been on other YouTube channels. This is why I give Dave a rest.
Sorry.
It's okay, Dave. But Dave, what was your thoughts on the game?
I agree with I agree with the chaps. I think it was Forest's best performance for about 5-6 weeks. I would say probably since the Manchester City game, where I thought, in a strange kind of fashion, we got ourselves a point. I think it was when I saw the lineup, I thought it was kind of a little bit unorthodox. It wasn't anything like I expected, and I think it's good that Steve's keeping us on our toes by picking other selections. But I thought it was put the possession bit aside, 17 shots, as Steve said. That I just think it was a really nice performance, and I have different feelings about it because I think the performance, as Steve said after the game, was a good one. But it deserved, as Dylan has just said, it deserved 3 rather than 1. So I have different views on the game. I think the point for us, Wolves will be happier with a point from that than we would because we should have won it. I think that we need to be more clinical in the box because, that has got to be sorted out. But I just thought there were lots of plus points. I thought, a lot of people would have gone, well, why has Harry Toffolo been picked? What's he doing inside? He did all right, Harry. Yeah. He was only brought off because Harry was in the fight. He got himself a yellow. He was playing all right. And Brennan came on and did all right. I thought Danilo had a really good game. He set the goal up lovely.
I was about to mention
he's a lad who wants to get in the trenches and dig in and battle. I really like Danilo. When the rough edges get knocked off Danilo, we've got ourselves a real player there. I thought Oral Mangala looked to have the kind of confidence he would have got from making his full debut for Belgium and playing for Belgium. He looked really good, Oral Mangala. Freuler, who I've been critical of recently because I felt he was too conservative and too safe and too bland. I thought he got better as the game went on. I thought he started quietly, but then he got better. Brennan, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Brennan's groin. Does it like heal itself or something? He's like Captain Scarlet, you know what I mean?
I saw on social media with how is Brennan getting injured and then he comes to Forest. Listen to me, Wales fans, stop whinging. He plays for Forest. Yeah. No offense, Stephen. No offense, Steve. I know you're Welsh and that, but he's Forest first, then Wales.
But I thought, Brennan played well. Ben, I thought Morgan did well. I kind of sat there and thought that there wasn't any of them that played poorly. And I think the frustration is that decent performance should have got us 3. Now, what I look at as well is, Cheku came back on, Taiwo came on, and I thought Taiwo looked a bit of a handful when he came on. He was having his shirt pulled a couple of times. And I think that if we can play like that in some of these remaining 10 games, and remember, that's a quarter of a season. A lot can happen in 10 football matches, that we can go and get something. I mean, like, I looked at Tuesday night. If we can play like that against Leeds, I mean, what I would say is Leeds. I think Leeds already think they've already won that because everybody in this division looks down on us. Everybody thinks that, and with good reason, because our away form is appalling. That Forest at their place is a home banker, and one of them somewhere along the line is going to tumble over. I think all the pressure is on Leeds. This is Leeds' home banker on Tuesday night. And if we can play anything like we did yesterday and add that finishing touch to it, we were sat in the box, man. We were privileged enough to sit with Chris Bart-Williams and John O'Hare, guys who've done it at the highest level. And they, that's why I shut up. These guys know football. I don't know football, right? I'd rather listen to them than just blab on.
I couldn't believe it. Dave was so quiet. John O'Hare was next to me and he was legend.
Mate, you're in the presence of legends, guys who've played at the highest level for Nottingham Forest and played, top level football. And they both said, Forest, we're getting into really good positions and not making the most of it. And I think that, really, Forest defensively were really, really I thought Felipe was fantastic. He was probably my man of the match. I mean, the Holy Ponytail had a really good game yesterday. Keylor Navas, apart from picking the ball out the net for Pedence's goal, didn't have much to do. I mean, and they were unlucky with that because there was a fantastic block of a shot and it ran straight to Pedence. Do you know what I mean? I mean, fair play, that little fella stuck it in. His aim with his shooting was almost as good as his aim with his mouth at Brennan later on, but that's another matter. You know what I
Yeah. Before we'll go through the comments, there's quite a lot coming through here. Jonathan says, if we sack Cooper and the new manager has a match task to get the fans on their side, 100%. 100%. But that's we'll talk about that later on because there's been so much noise today. We've got a manager's been sacked as well. Kenneth says, Dennis still bought it in the final third, still can't pass the ball, takes too long to make a decision, slows down for playing first. I agree with Kieran on that bit. Like I said, I think he was fantastic. But when he got to the final third, that's what we're missing.
He's definitely improved, Benny. I think he's definitely improved, Dennis.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
If you go back to the game at Blackpool in the Cup, and he was like a figure of fun, and nobody had any time for him. And I do think he's got better. You know what I mean? So I think he's a work in progress that's improving.
100%. Paul said, Paul said, best performance for sometimes 0 3 points, but you don't put your chances away. The risk of falling under sucker punch. Lots of good performance. Like I said, we can't be down hard about yesterday's performance. We played great. We just need goal in this game. But we'll talk about Brennan's goal. Get one as well. I've read this one. Dropping it off. This one. Chris from America. Even lads, Bradford from enjoying some patchwork 11. Yeah, over to Dave. Come on, you ready? Shout out to Chris from America as well.
Islanders.
Lily says poor game management cost us. Okay, that we'll talk about later on. Kyle, everyone agrees. Agreed. Everyone thinks we'll be going down. There's still 10 games to go. There's still 10 wins to go. Paul says all runs come to end. We're ready to win away. 100%. I can't wait for this one. I do. Mark. Dylan, we'll speak about the midfield. And I said to Dave in the box, we keep changing our midfield. And this time, Diallo come back. Mangala, Fowler. Do you think that was the right choice, a midfield?
Well, they did all right, didn't they? So
yeah.
I was literally, like I say, when I saw the team sheet, I just looked at it and I thought,
to be fair, me and Dave said exactly the same, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah. Dylan, me and Ben looked at it and I kind of thought, oh, that's not anything like I expected. And I kind of thought, oh, I'm not so sure about that. So what you're saying, big fella, we had the same thought.
We had the same thought.
We're also saying, and we also agree with Dylan, is that it actually did far better than we could have imagined, you know?
Yeah. Oh, definite. But I even looked at him and thought, oh, you can't leave John Joe out. He's been, for me, since he's come in, he's dictated that midfield. But we were wrong. Do you know what I mean? So obviously these players are thinking now 10 games left. Do you know what I mean? Got to get something done. Do you know what I mean? They might be being given a bit more freedom. But yeah, I thought they were good. It was Freuler was captain, wasn't
he?
Yeah.
And then when I noticed one thing as well, when Worrell come on, Worrell didn't get the captaincy armband.
No.
He did, because normally when he comes on, they chuck in the armband. And I was looking at the game and I was thinking, he ain't got the armband. So
People comments. Do you think Joe Worrell should get a captain armband or give it to Remo? What do you think? That's it's important. But me personally, it's Joe Worrell. But people might think, yes, we know. What do you think? Steve, let's talk about the Welsh guy, Nico Williams, and as well Toffolo. People give him stick. Maybe he deserves it towards Williams and Toffolo. But what was your opinion on them two?
Yeah. Obviously, the beginning of the game, Wolves were down Toffolo's side, causing us problems. I thought there was a couple of whip balls in that were coming in that side. I thought, oh. But Torre was, as the game wore on, he just got under my skin. Because the guy is absolutely built like a brick house, and he spent more time on the floor than on his feet. Like, there was one time where he was in our half, and he bounced off two players and just carried on running. When Felipe, when he got in the box, he went down like a fart on the way, just breathe, like Felipe touched him, and he went one over so easy. I know he's going to go and try and win a pen, but that guy just got under my skin, and I can see why he took Toffolo off. That was a bit of a sensible. That was a very sensible sub. That was. I'm quite critical on the other sub with Dennis with the Warrior one, which we might get onto later. But the Toffolo one was sensible because Toffolo was on a yellow, and then Torre was still running at him. Nico on the other side, though, I thought played well. He had a good week for Wales in international, so he's taken that form into yesterday. The only downside is I thought Nico was at fault of the goal because he did sell himself to Podence. If you watch the goal back, he sold himself a bit. He dived in, Podence tucked in and then slammed it in. So overall, I thought the two full-backs overall played well, though. I thought Nico, you could see Nico and Johnson, I think Dylan touched on it earlier, I think Nico and Johnson definitely got this, being through Wales or just being good mates as well, just got this connection down that side. I think Nico offers something different to O'Reilly. He's not as physical as O'Reilly, but Nico's just got that kind of awkwardness to him. The way he runs well, he just wins you a free kick and he gets up and down a bit more agile. He's a bit more agile than O'Reilly. But yeah, overall, I thought the two. What did they do wrong over the 90 minutes? Really, really, you couldn't look at it and go, "Oh, they were terrible." Which we thought, because Toffolo haven't played for such a long time. I'm like the boys. I thought, "Oh,
Steve, would you play them two against Leeds, or would you bring Sergio or Lodi back?"
I would still stick with Nico because I think that Leeds game would suit him the way Leeds play. Left back, why not give Toffolo another game? I know Leeds have got a couple of injuries now. They haven't got that. It's little Italian.
Nonto.
He's out.
Yeah, he's out. And if you remember, lads, you go back to the Leeds game at our place. The first half of that match was all about him.
Yeah,
he dominated. He was like dominating the game. So if Leeds are without Gnonto and they're without Tyler Adams, their captain, who's out for the season. So Leeds have got their issues as well as we've got ours. Yeah,
100%. I want to do one more thing. Shout out to Kieran. He's been a member for 15 months. Thank you, Kieran, for that. I do appreciate a lot to all of the members on my channel as well. Paul, I wouldn't read anything on my business properly. Just focus on the job in. Hard to give it to second thoughts. Yeah, that's bang on for that, Paul. Sean says, I don't know. Some fans think about Paul Moran cost us again yesterday. We should have been 4-0 up before even changing tactics. Let me ask you this, Dylan. When, like I said, Dennis, for me, I thought, like I said, he was very good, but just the last third let me down. But I'm not trying to disrespect Dennis. Do you think it was the right choice for Joe Worrell to come on that time? Like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect Joe Worrell, but I think he tried to, like, we're 1-0 up, and we're trying to like the usual formation that Cooper did. Do you think it was right for Joe Worrell to come on at that time, or do you think it should have been further on?
I think 25, 20, you 1-0 up. You are actually getting chances because I think for the last few games, how many times have you actually thought we've had a chance? Another one's coming because we were just opening them up every time these through balls and through balls. And 25 minutes to go, it takes for me. This is my personal opinion. People will have their own and whatever.
Don't bash people. Don't bash Dylan. Okay. If you disagree, you disagree. Go on, talk.
He's too powerful to be bashed.
I'm not bothered. Anyway,
Dave, don't give him a big head.
But for me personally, I'm thinking to myself, why take a forward player off to bring on a centre back? I kind of get there's 25 minutes left of the game to go. Do you know what I mean? They wasn't really causing us a threat. But do you know what I mean? I could understand if backs to the walls, they were peppering us all the time. We weren't getting any through balls or anything like that. Then bring the extra centre back on. But then he switched it to a 3. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? He's probably trying to manage the game, thinking, well, do you know what I mean? We've been playing for like near on 70 minutes, and we can't put the ball in the back of net, so we're trying to manage the game. But for me, I would have, if you're going to take Dennis off, you should have replaced him probably with Taiwo and said to Taiwo, go at him, simple, because the balls will come to you. Keep the back four as it was, because they didn't do nothing. I don't think the back needed to be changed. And for me personally, I think, you know what I mean, if he was going to do that, do it the last 10 minutes when you still 1-0 up, then you want to protect. Do you know what I mean? Because then you kind of get the thought, fact is, right, we're not going to get that second goal. It's not going to happen for us today. Right, let's protect the lead we've got. Do you get what I mean? I just think he may have just pulled the trigger. Do you know what I mean? 15 minutes too early. Maybe we'd have got some. Taiwo might have been. Do you know what I mean? Just added that extra freshness up top with Jono and Gibbs White, because Gibbs White was trying. I was praying. I was like, everything crossed. Please get a goal. Please get a goal, because he was trying so hard. Do you know what I mean? Jono's just on another planet, mate.
Yeah,
You know
that's what I'm going to talk to Stephen about that, because it's Welsh steak. Before we do, I'm going to go through comments. Shout out to my boy Curtis. Arsenal. I don't talk about Arsenal because they're flying away. So shout out to Curtis. Hope you lot win yesterday. Think you got a tough run in with Leicester sacking Rodgers. Would you consider sacking Cooper to stay up or keep him? That's just Curtis. That's what we're going to talk about later on in the show. It's a massive point that we'll be talking, and that will people as well. Just please watch out for later on, because it's a big point. Because on Twitter, if you've seen it, it's a lot of managers been sacked. But shout out to Curtis. Make sure everyone subscribes to Curtis Shaw, top guy, really top guy. He'll be on my show when Arsenal play Forest. I hope, Curtis, when you're free. Michael says we brought on Worrell to combat Costa coming on and area bombardments. Yeah. From that point of view, you can understand it, because Costa is a bit of an animal as well. Same with Jonathan. Joel came off extra numbers to deal with Costa. Rob says, "Hi Ben, I predicted out the last 10 games. We'll win 4, 2 draws, and lose 4, ending at 41 points. It could happen. We just got to believe. That's all we've got to do." Jimmy says, "We have several chances after the wall situation. After our IG went up massively. After this too, don't think it will be simple." Nope. No. Christian says, we've been warm waters under Steve Cooper leadership. As a Forest fan over 40 years, I know people like Steve Cooper don't come around often. Literally everyone else will be stopgaps. 100%. Let's talk about Jono. He took his goal well, didn't he?
Yeah, and I jumped out of my seat when I went in. I didn't expect it to happen. I think I got distracted by the dog or something. I was looking down. Next thing I looked at, he slammed it in.
Steve, well, before you do, I know. Shout out to the Wolves fans, and Dave will know, was giving me grief all first half. I loved it, and Chris Bart. Shout out to Chris Bart Williams' mom. She absolutely loved it. And Chris Bart Williams like, "Ben, what are you doing?" And Chris's mom, "Ben, carry on doing." Dave, do the impression of what she was doing. What she was doing?
Christopher, let him get on with it. Let him do it. Mind you, can I just say, actually, before Steve gets back onto the land of song and close harmony singing and all that kind of stuff, Mrs. Bart Williams Ede, there was a bit before the game where Ben took Chris around the pitch with young Kieran Marriott, and so Chris walked on the pitch, and his mum was sat in the executive box getting really annoyed. He shouldn't walk on the pitch. People have spent a lot of time sorting that out. Get off the pitch, Christopher. Get off the pitch. You know what I mean? And he was like, he's 48, and his mum was telling him off. Mind you, I'm 59, and my mum tells me off. So, but anyway, back to Steve.
Back to Steve. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, like Dylan just said, Johnson at the moment is just he just looks a threat, and he just looks outstanding. I've had a lot of my fellow Welsh people message me and put on my timeline about how was he back from injury so quick and all that, and he didn't play for Wales. And I said to a few of them, well, he wasn't picked in the World Cup. They kept on picking Dan James and Harry Wilson in front of him. So, and I told him that I give him a bit of reality is that Cooper is fighting for his job. Now, he would have gone to the Welsh FA and said, look, I want to keep Johnson under wraps, wrap him up in cotton wool. Is he going to start? He may have asked them, is he going to start? And they could have said, potentially no. For me, he should be a starter for Wales anyway. But he's not always a starter. So
he's going to be the new... mark my words. If he's played right for Wales, he will be the new Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
I think
he will.
I hope he does. I hope he does.
After Martinelli and Saka in this league. After Martinelli and Saka, Brennan is the best young player in this division.
Yeah, there's
a massive testament to him.
You've got to look. you got to look where that lad's come from. League One smashed it. Championship smashed it.
Yeah.
Premiership smashed it all in 3 seasons. I'm sorry, but we've got, even though we signed a new contract with us and everything and whatever, we have got, if we stay on the Premiership next season, we have got a massive, massive task to keep hold of him still.
Yeah.
I know.
The big boys will come after him.
I know he did dive in the first half, and he was a dive. I don't know if you boys
was it a dive? Was it a dive?
It was no worse than Traore's. Traore didn't get a yellow. Exactly. Brennan got a yellow. Yeah. If you watch Steve, actually, what we watched, we were kind of in line. We were lucky we were in that box that we were in. We were in line with the narrow angle that Brennan scored from when he put it through Sarr's legs, and we were also had a really good view of when he kind of beat his man, and then he got caught on the line by, I think it might have been Nunes or something like that, or Totti or whatever. And then what he did, he sort of back heel, nutmegged the guy.
Yeah.
And then he kind of got wrestled down. But okay, so Kavanagh booked him. But why didn't Kavanagh book Traore at the other end?
Exactly. So if it wasn't a penalty, and that's what frustrates me, Dave, in football. If it wasn't a penalty, then Traore's dived then. End of.
Absolutely.
So why we booked him? There's no consistency in the refs like that.
No.
It really frustrates me in football.
Absolutely.
But coming back to Johnson, it's just everything's just a threat with him. And what I like about him now is from early on the season where he's getting doubled up and he was hiding in games. Now he's got a real bite about him, and he stands up to players. And it's a few times like in the first half, I was shouting at the TV going, "Johnson, please calm down a bit," because I think some teams trying to get inside his head, but he just looks down on players now. If it's on the floor, he looks over him, he stands over him. He's got a bit of arrogance about him, and in a good arrogance, not like like a Man United Fernandes where you just want to throttle him. It's that kind of. I like it. He's bringing that into his game, a bit of physicality as well. You need that in the Premier League up against these big.
And I will tell you, but I'll be honest, right? When I think it was last season, end of last season, we started to see Brennan we've seen the nasty side of Brennan.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Malcolm, I don't like this from Brennan. I don't like it. But then when you look at it, he's got to toughen up.
He has been, because he's going to be like to play like Jack Grealish or these players who get taken out all the time and foul and get targeted. He is going to get nailed a lot, and he's got to look after himself because they teach you from a young age in football. You look after yourself. You look after number one. You make sure you are all right, and that's the thing. Yes, he's got to make sure he's all right because he's worth a lot of money to us.
Yeah, and he's a marked man, Steve, because everybody now in this country knows who the measured fastest person in this league is. Who's the fastest person? It's been scientifically measured. Brennan Johnson is the fastest, so he's going to be a marked man. What you lads are saying is absolutely bang on about Brennan. Everything Dylan says, everything you say, Steve. It just occurs to me. I think he's had some help from a really good mate. I think Morgan has done wonders to help Brennan. I just think they look like a couple of mates. They look like the couple of lads to me. They've just finished school. They chuck their school uniform off. They get their football kit on. They go and play down the park together. They're really good mates, and they play like good mates on the field. And now Morgan has captained his country this week and had a good week. Like a lot of, I tell you what, our lads, a lot of them, Remo Freuler, Oral Mangala, Musa Niakate.
Okay.
They've had a good international week, and I thought a lot of them brought that back. And Morgan, I think Brennan has looked at Morgan. I think Morgan adapted to the Premier League quicker than Brennan did. And because I think they're close and I think they get on well and they obviously chat and they talk and they probably socialise or whatever, I think Brennan's looked at how Morgan adapted, and I think Brennan is going that way with him now. I mean, I think that they are our two best players by no disrespect to the others, by quite a considerable distance. And if we were going to Leeds on Tuesday night or to Villa Park next Saturday without them two, it'd be like, ooh, but they give us something, those two. And I'll tell you what they give us as well. And like Ben said, we're seeing the nasty side of Bren, but we're also seeing the kind of the middle digit being given by Brennan to players. If Podence is going to have a gob at him, that's Brennan. I think that's Brennan winning the psychological battle. Yeah. And Morgan as well. Morgan was kissing the badge like anything at the end of the match. I see
that. We see that.
These lads, I think, those two have really adapted well to the Prem, but Brennan, like I say, I was on a podcast the other week and I talked about Brennan being in the same, and I was probably overdoing it, being in the same level as Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. But after them two, he's the best young.
But it's facts, though. It's facts.
And he got props. listened to the lads on Match of the Day last night, Shearer and Micah Richards, and they were like banging the drum for him. So what Brennan's done, I mean, you know, he's one of ours. I'm extremely proud of Brennan. I love what he does. He gets bums off seats. He's a fantastic lad, and I just think, and like Dylan said, if we stay up and we keep hold of it, we are going to have a job to hold on to him, whatever happens, I think. But we've got to, you know, whoever Brennan Johnson plays for, hopefully it's us. It might be somebody else. They've got a player on their hands. You know what I mean?
100%. There's 77 people, and if you do a massive favour for me, please do hit the like button if you can help me out. As well, is there any questions that you want to ask for the panel? Please do.
Ben, can I just say one thing, last thing on Johnson? Because
Yeah.
just one last thing, because Dave
Yeah.
said, if Johnson wants to leave, what I want to see for that boy, right, is to go to a club he's playing week in, week out.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to see for that boy for his career is to go to a club, he's sitting on that bench, right? He's not getting in the team, he's doing 20-minute cameos, and then they have enough for him, they send him on loan somewhere, he gets lost in the shuffle. If he is to leave us, which I don't want him to go for many years to come, because he will eventually leave us, I think, for the top team, he has to play week in, week out, that kid, because there's only one way.
Do you think, and Ben probably knows better than all of us, do you think his dad's going to let him do that? And probably, he probably don't get too much.
Let Dave answer.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, he probably don't get too much involved in it. But but I could imagine his dad turning around and saying, say the lights hypothetically had Man City came in. Yeah, we want to give you 60 million for it. Right? Forest are going to go, 60 million? Yeah. Come here, and we'll nurture you for a bit, and we'll do this and we'll do that. But then say the likes of like a Tottenham or an Arsenal comes in. Oh no, but we you know what I mean?
I think
he's gonna have. Hey,
Jed Spence. Look at Jed Spence. He's gone to Tottenham and like he's on loan at Rennes.
Exactly.
He's just disappeared off the radar.
Exactly.
So, Dylan, I think, you know, I mean, what a brilliant thing for a young lad. He's a boy still, Brennan, basically. He's such a baby face, you know. What better than to have somebody in your family who's played professional football?
Yeah, but if you look at do you know what I mean? His dad was awesome. Do you know what I mean? You've met his dad and stuff like that.
Dylan, don't give David Johnson the big head. He's a 4 foot guy. Sorry, David. I said it yesterday. But,
it don't matter. But anyway, but I'm just saying, do you know what I mean? He's lucky enough to have the talent he's got. He's gonna. I don't care. He's gonna smash it wherever he goes. Yeah. But he's lucky enough to probably have his dad to say, do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna have you. I'm telling you, you're not going to go to the top best Premier League side in the country because they're winning all this, but you're going to sit on the bench for most of the season, or go out on loan for someone.
100%. I think I'm going to ask this one. I'll say that I'm going to ask you, Dave, as well. What, do you think it was a good point, or like what was it? 2 points dropped, Dave?
2 dropped. 2 dropped in hindsight, because we played well enough to deserve the 3. Like I say, Ben, it's the best we play. I mean, West Ham was awful. Tottenham drove me bonkers because it was just so bland. And so here Tottenham will be a doormat for you. It was dreadful. It was where was the Rebel City in that? We went to, I wanted us to go to that Tottenham Stadium a few weeks ago and say, what a lovely building you built. Let's cover it in Nottingham Forest graffiti. Let's wreck it. You know, and it was so passive. Yesterday, our lads were not passive. You know, our lads definitely played well enough yesterday to deserve the 3. Steve said it after the game, and I agreed with him. What I also agreed with him, and it, you know, social media, I get fed up with it, to be honest with you.
Me too.
Unless it's real close friends, I don't bother with a lot of this stuff because it's usually, you know, snap judgments and like, you know, heat of the moment, and people commit stuff, and there's not a lot of thought goes into it, you know. And so, like, when Joe Worrell came on, I think there's a campaign against Joe Worrell at the moment. There's a lot of people who want to get Joe Worrell because he gave away a penalty at Tottenham. And that doesn't define Joe's life. The fantastic service Joe has given to the club, that defines Joe Worrell, not that one penalty he gave.
Is it 150 appearances played for the club? Or
yeah, Joe Worrell's brilliant, right, I think. And Joe Worrell, like everybody at Nottingham Forest, including the manager, including the coach, including the ownership, everybody is learning on the job in the toughest league in the world, right? Now, when Joe came on, I thought to myself, the keyboard warriors will be out of force, because I think football fans right across the board think that a defensive substitution is an absolute no-no. How dare he put a defender on? And I was a bit like, what's he put Joe on for? Because we want to go for the game, right? But I listened to Steve Cooper afterwards. And when Colin Frey, I think it was Colin Frey, asked Steve a straight question, Steve gave him a rational answer. And I thought Steve's answer was a good one. He said Wolves were chucking players on. Wolves were going top heavy. They took Dawson off. They took a load of others off. And Steve said, well, I've got to counter what Lopetegui's doing. And then the idea was to catch him on the break. And somebody in the comments earlier, I don't know who it was, mentioned that the XG went up, whatever that is. And I think that's a lot of that's bull dung, you know what I mean? This XG, I'm not bothered about it. But I think Forest still looked a threat after Joe came on. I thought the interesting people who came on, subs-wise, and I'm veering off the point, you know, having made the point that the point was a better one for Wolves than it was for us, it was interesting to me that Taiwo and Cheku came on.
Yeah.
Because if we get those two fit, they're going to be literally big figures for us. I mean, Taiwo came on, and I think it might have been Semedo or whoever he was playing against was pulling his shirt straight away. Taiwo came on, and you know, when Taiwo gets game, I don't think he'll start. I don't think either him or Cheku will start at Leeds. Because I think it'll be a similar sort of side. I think Brennan will play instead of Harry at left back. I think the only reason Brennan didn't play was he'd only arrived back in the country at 5 o'clock the morning before the match. So if Brennan had been back in the country Tuesday, Wednesday, Brennan Loddy would have played left back, right? But I liked, you know, I thought Wolves looked a lot bigger than us physically. So when Cheku and Taiwo came on, it redressed the balance a bit. And, you know, this idea of playing Taiwo out wide, a big guy as a winger, and you've got smaller guys inside him, you know, I think it's a bit unorthodox. And I think I've seen it. It worked against Chelsea on New Year's Day where Azpilicueta couldn't deal with him. It worked at Southampton where he got the goal with that, the only away win we've had. And I think if we can get Taiwo up to speed quickly and Cheku Kouyaté up to speed quickly, Cheku's going to give us that presence in midfield where we're not going to get pushed about. I remember him against Liverpool when we beat Liverpool, and he was absolutely magnificent. He bullied Liverpool off the park, him and Yatesy. Yeah. And I think Taiwo and Cheku coming on late on in that game is good for Forest going forward. I think it will make us more. And I tell you what, Steve Cooper said brilliantly afterwards. He was on about all that kerfuffle on the touchline, and he said, "Well, you know, Wolves had tried it before. They did it. They did it in the cup quarter final where Lopetegui was on the field, and you know, being like surly." And Steve Cooper said,
Did he get sent off that game?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He went on the field to have a go at Morgan Gibbs-White, right? And it all got very silly at the end, but it wasn't Forest doing. But what I liked yesterday was Cooper said they were, you know, Tatey got sent off, and I think Sands there. He's got
a bad reputation. Tatey, I showed you that Swansea.
Tatey's a tough nut. Tatey's hard. Tatey's what really. Tatey's a player, a sort of player Forest could do without on the field. A Roy Keane, a Bastard. That's what we need actually in the middle of the park. You know what I mean? A Larry Lloyd or a Kenny Burns or something like that. But Steve said we're not going to be dominated here in our stadium, and we stood up to him. And so like Steve was basically saying, yeah, fair play, Tatey, on you go, you have a crack. You know what I mean? And I like that. I just the one thing that's really annoyed me about Forest is there've been times when it's just been so passive and so, you know, like, oh, don't hit us. I want Forest to go and get in their faces. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what the great teams that Forest have had, you know, so the 70s, early 80s, and then the choir boys the choir boys in the 80s, the late 80s, like they were such a nice, they never got a red or yellow card, but they still know how to look after themselves. Piercy could look after his old team on his own. And I just think Forest are going to need that in these 10 games coming up. You know, away at places like Anfield, at Brentford, you know, at Stamford Bridge, at Palace on the last day. That could be a winner takes all. That, you know. So I just think that while the point was like it was one of them like shit, it should have been 3, but there were lots of pluses to it. And you'll tell by my thing. I really liked Danilo yesterday. I thought he was really, really good. Felipe was the best man on the far, but Danilo was playing centre forward at the end. Yeah. He was the furthest man forward. And I tell you what Danilo does. He likes to tackle, and he's not going to be pushed about. I think he's not the finished article, not by a long stretch. But I really think we've got ourselves a player there. You know what I mean? If we do end up going down, you know, and that's none of us know. Lots of other supporters of other clubs think that we're already gone, and that's great. If they've written us off, then there's no pressure on. There's no pressure on us going to Ellen Road on Tuesday night. Leeds have to win. That's the one that all their fans think we have to beat Nottingham Forest, right? So we can go there and like, oh, you're having a party. Up yours, and that's what we've got to do. You know what I mean? So, but I do think, Ben, that you know, there's a long way to go. It's a quarter of a season. 10 games. 10 games to go. 10 cup finals, people. 10 cup finals. There's 102 people in. If you can do a massive favour for me, please do hit the like button. Before we do talk about Cooper, let's talk about that major incident that happened. I'm going to ask you, Dylan, pronounce the spitting. But people in the comments, was it a send off? Yes or no? Because Johnson, I saw his interview. He didn't want to comment about it. Because he might have said said the right, the wrong thing. We don't know. So I think. Well, people in the comments, what do you think? Dylan, do you think it was a send off, Dylan?
Yeah, definitely. You see him. He's saying something to him like that. What was he doing? Blowing him a kiss. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Johnson's gonna blow him. Oh yeah. Oh, do you know what I mean? In the space of how it happened. Oh, blow you a kiss. Oh, I'll pretend you spat at me. You know what I mean? So. No, they should have took one look at that and gone.
Yeah, but they did. What they did.
Yes, exactly. No, but I mean, I know. Well, this is what I'm trying to say. You should have took the what? There was no need for. You know exactly what he's doing. They probably sat there going, "Oh, he could be giving him a kiss or something." You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I think the only problem is you couldn't see anything come out of his mouth.
No, there was a little bit. There was a little bit.
Oh, well,
you're looking for Dobbo.
No, but if it was sprayed out, then therefore. But yeah.
The thing is, well, the intent was there, wasn't it? The intent was there, and the thing is, right?
Yeah.
If these campaigns and they push in for youngsters looking up to these people and they want to set an example, if there's youngsters watching Match of the Day now, right, then these programs and watching that, and they're not punishing them, these people, they'll go and do it. These kids will go and do it on Saturday. They'll start to pretend spitting at each other because they've seen a footballer do it and they haven't been punished for it. So you should throw the book at him and just ban him, and then he won't do it again.
We'll probably see something come of it in the next couple of days.
Hopefully.
Retrospective.
But he changed the game when he came on that Pedence, and we were linked with him a few years ago.
We was linked with him. If people don't know, he used to play for Olympiacos, and we was linked with him. But then Wolves got their 15 million. I think it was 15 million. I think it was, or 20 million, around that price. But it is what it is. Right. The major point, people. And everyone's gonna be honest. As we know, there's two managers have been sacked, Potter and Rodgers. Cooper's been under pressure since the start of the season. This game, we know Marinakis went, and like I said, it's been in the papers that he was in the changing room, blah blah blah, this and that. What's your opinion? This Leeds game is massive, but I don't think it's just the Leeds game. We could beat Leeds. Then he's going to be under pressure against Aston Villa. Again, pressure against Liverpool. He's going to be pressure. It's all the games going to be under pressure. So whatever happens, he's going to be under pressure. People come back. What do you think? Let me ask you, Steve. How much pressure is Cooper in? Do you think you've got to give him time?
Right. First thing I would say: do boys believe in things coming threes? Because
I believe that, just to say that I believe if they were going to pull the trigger, it'd have been done by now.
Because my mate messaged me earlier saying today 2 ex-Swansea managers have been sacked.
Oh yeah! Right. Shit. Right.
Yeah.
Is this a Welsh conspiracy theory show?
You know what? Right, people. Right. I always can see.
That's brilliant.
I always can see some banter about his Welsh.
How long have you been holding on to that? Or what? 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Just be sitting there going, please, just I want to say it.
No, I'll say no more on that, right? But no,
That was good, though. That was good. That was good. That was good.
That's a DoreOnTour classic right there, that.
That is a classic one. That is a classic one.
That needs to be made into a meme or something.
Yeah.
Steve needs, Steve, in a nicer sense, Steve needs clipping.
That needs clipping. That needs clipping. People in the comments, if someone can clip that and send it to me, fantastic. That was good. But Steve, carry on.
Absolutely.
Carry on. You got me on the show.
No,
Next week, it's 2 Cardiff managers have been sacked.
well, his next Cardiff manager, his next Forest manager in charge of Cardiff now.
Oh yeah.
Well, connection, Steve.
Imagine. Not saying it. Imagine Cooper goes, then all of a sudden Sabri goes from Cardiff to stay. Look, the other. We've gone on all the conspiracy theories to be like, oh my god.
He's going to take the Neath job. He'll end up at the Knoll doing Neath.
Right.
Cooper's under pressure every game now, isn't he? He's
under pressure. That's the problem.
And what's annoying me, right, is it seems like, I don't know what you boys feel, is the focus is all on Forest, and they're forgetting there's 8 or 9 other teams in that.
Absolutely.
Maya. Every other team, look at Southampton, they are in a real mess.
Southampton, Steve, Leicester, Leeds, they've had worse weekends than we have.
Yeah.
All three of them.
Okay, they won today, but a scrappy 1-0 win. You've got
Shouldn't be there.
Crystal Palace is still out of it. Wolves are not out of it.
No,
Chelsea had only 12 points from relegation. That's mental. That's mental to say that. Who else is down there with us?
Everton.
Bournemouth. Hopefully Spurs will do us a favour tomorrow now and turn them over.
Yeah.
Everton. So, it's just Cooper's under pressure.
Under pressure. And that's what it is. It's normal. It's normal, people.
Yeah, it goes back to my point earlier about Johnson and the Welsh squad. Cooper is looking after himself. He has to look after his main assets. And every game now, if we beat Leeds, he's got a bit more time. If we lose, then... But my worry is, boys, is that who is out there now would come in, and if he keeps us up, great. If we go down, he's the worst guy ever, and we've got the worst ownership, we've got the worst club, blah blah blah, and it'll just be a conveyor belt of things you could say then. But if we keep with Cooper and we go down, okay, he's going to get bricks thrown him anyway. Either way, but if we stay with Cooper, that's my ideal dream, is just to stay with Cooper and see us through to next year as well, and just keep on going.
I just want to say, like Stevie said, how can anybody kind of blame him? You can blame him for a couple of things, because I think tactically over the course of the season, some decisions he's made haven't been the best. Like I point to one like the Everton.
100%.
The Everton game. You look at the team sheet, and you go, "Fucking hell, that's defensive. That's a bit more. We don't want to lose this, lads." And then you look, you think, "Oh, but why didn't you play so and so, so and so?" Do you know what I mean? Go for the. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a bit cautious. And someone told me, I don't know if this is true. Stephen might know this better. Someone told me that he's towards his end of his Swansea reign, he seemed to have just held back and tried to be more defensive than anything.
Right. Let me just finalise that.
But he did get to a playoff final.
Yeah. What happened at Swansea? My Swansea mates had told me, and they obviously warned me when Cooper took charge. I had all that, like, "Oh, Cooper will won't do this, won't do that." What happened was they were playing open, expansive football, and funny enough, they went to Derby and lost, of all teams, right? And what happened? Cooper went super defensive from that game on, and they were just, and my Swansea mates were telling me they were just sitting back, winning 1-0, and he just relied on defensive football. And maybe, Dills, that's what's happened is early on in the season we were so open. I think it might have been the City game, the Leicester game, or you could pick any one of them games.
Steve, all the games up to Fulham, and what's happened is we were far too open. We were playing exactly the kind of football that got us out and everybody loved. And it was like we were attacking and we're scoring 5s and 4s and 5s and what have you. It was shown to be not working. I mean, if you want the context, look what Burnley are doing to the Championship. They're obliterating it. And then they play City at the Etihad and they get striped. Welcome to the big boys. And the thing is, it's been on my mind actually all season that Steve and the coaching staff and the club are trying to find this balance between, we want to go for it. The fans just want like attacking football. They want like risk-free football, just chucking the kitchen sink, right? But in reality, it's not possible. And I think the two games that have been the most damaging in terms of trying to find the balance between being pragmatic and being attacking are that Bournemouth and Fulham game that we lost, the two that we lost in September, because everybody was, we'll beat Bournemouth because they're a little club with a small ground. We'll beat Fulham because they're a little club with a small ground.
I can remember.
We got our arses kicked. Do you know what I mean? And I also think Steve has got the toughest job of any manager in this league by a mile. You know, he from the bottom of the chat, there's a great in the comments, a guy's put, Steve actually got us there too quick. He did. It was, as Colin Frey said, 5 years of progress in like 10 months or whatever. Yeah. And then what he does, the team that got him there had to be, you know, was dismantled. And a lot of it not through Steve's doing. And then he has to kind of rebuild a new squad. If we finish 17th, Brian Clough will look down and think, there, I really do believe in miracles. And we have got an advantage. We were the first team into the relegation dogfight. We joined the relegation dogfight the Monday after we won at Wembley because we were favourites to go down straight away. Now, some of the others, West Ham, shit, what are we doing in a relegation fight? We're in Europe. Leicester City, we won the league, we won the FA Cup. What are we doing in a relegation dogfight? Crystal Palace, for so long, have been like, we're all right, we're not in it. They have to adapt to being in it. Yeah. I think Forest have got some things going for them in this. They've got to improve. So much has got to get better. But, you know, what Steve Cooper's had to deal with it. Yeah, and basically what happens is, you get like 2 or 3 defeats or 2 or 3 poor performances, and everybody's like, he's got to go.
Yeah.
You know, it gets to the point where some people, and again, let me get this point across, everybody is entitled to an opinion, however different it is. And I respect all the opinions, right? But it gets to me sometimes like, what are you going to do? You're going to change the manager after every single defeat. So like Leicester get a new manager in, they lose the first game, then a lot of the Leicester fans will be wanting him gone. You know what I mean? 100%. You do have to, I think you have to see the bigger picture and play the longer game. But I think 17th is on a par. 17th in this Premier League with this squad we've got thrown together is almost on a par with European Cups in 79 and 80, honestly.
Steve, you want to say something, Steve?
Yeah, just
Dylan
wants to say something quick.
Go on, Dale. Oh,
no, Steve.
Someone's mentioned the comments. Someone's just mentioned the comments that Bournemouth game, and I will tie in with the Fulham game. I always pinpoint to them 2 games. They were massive defeats for us. They were
painful,
losing at home.
2-0 up against Bournemouth at half time. I remember going out with 2 of my friends at the back of the main stand, having a quick fag and that, and I was going, another 2, and we'll get 4, and then walking
We'd have
away.
Been in the top half, Dill.
Yeah, and then I'm walking away going, how the freaking hell did we lose that?
And against Fulham, we were 1-0 up. Fulham were 1-0 up, and then all of a sudden,
and then they had 10 minutes. Do you remember, lads?
Yeah, they obliterated us in 10 minutes, blew us away. Absolutely, I never seen a team blow us away. That was hard to take. That was worse than the 4-0, the 6-0, and the 5-0. Whatever.
Yeah. And boys, do you know what I think the real watershed was? The one that hurt. So those 2 defeats at home were bad because I think we as supporters or as a fan base, I think we were a bit deluded. We got carried away. We'll beat these 2. Forgetting that they're Premier League teams like us, right? Yeah. And Bournemouth and Fulham, okay, they came out of the Championship, but Bournemouth and Fulham were Premier League teams long before us. They had teams that were like, you know,
and players
built for the Premier League in January and whatever. We couldn't do that until the very last minute. If we'd assigned a load of Premier League standard players in April, people would have said, "Oh, Forest are getting above themselves," and I think it would have worked against us. So Forest had to do everything on the hoof, right? But the one that I think the one that is probably the most damaging of all, and has led to this, Steve trying to we want to attack, but we don't want to leave ourselves too open to the back, was Leicester away.
Leicester I remember that.
Monday night was horrendous.
I remember, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
And Dave said after scoring the 4th goal, no, it was a third. I think it was a 3rd goal. Ben, we're down.
I did think that.
Yeah,
I did think that because I mean that night at Leicester. I mean, again, there was a sliding doors moment. Taiwo hit the post in that game before Maddison and Dewsbury Hall took control. But at the end of that game, I honestly thought we're not up to this. We're going to get buried. And then what happened was the week that followed was a bit surreal because that was on the Monday. We swapped places with, we got beat by the bottom team 4-0 that night. And I thought, we are well out of our depth here. And then the Friday that followed that Monday night, Steve signed his contract. We played the Villa on the Monday night afterwards. And it was a pretty ropey game, but we didn't get beat. And all of a sudden, we went on that run. Arsenal being the outlier because we got striped at Arsenal 5-0. But from that point on until Palace before the World Cup, and then those games in January where we were the best team in the country for those 5 games in January, the lesson from the Leicester game was learned. I just think we've gone back a little bit, So I do think, in an ideal world, Forest would be going everywhere and wanting to play like Brentford, Brighton, Villa at the moment, right? Those are the teams. Or Fulham have done until they lost Mitrovic stupidly. I think those are the teams that Forest would like to aim. But those teams had to go through this evolution, if you like, where they clung on into the division. Villa, I think, had a terrible season, and then got a draw at West Ham on the last day where Jack scored to stay upright. So they had to kind of go through this torment to stay in this division before they could establish themselves. So I think, honestly, it's just about gritting our way through and getting 17th.
100%.
Everybody will treat if it is relegation. Well, have you got to deal with it? But I thought Burnley were gone for ages. £30 million of loans and debts and all this kind of stuff. Burnley have gone down and basically farted on the Championship. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So if we went down, we'd be unbelievably strong in the Championship, and I think we'd come back. I really do.
Do you think the same, Steve?
Well, if we went down,
Yeah.
Obviously we would lose a lot of our stardust. Johnson be gone. Gibbs White's debatable.
I don't think you lose Gibbs White.
No, I agree with it.
I agree, Dylan.
I think there's again we could talk all night though what players could leave and
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
No. But no, I think we would be one of the ones to be targeted in the Championship end. I think because we'd be a big fish in a small pond there. Yeah. Now we have got this sometimes mentality with a small fish in a big pond, which we would because we haven't been in the Premier League for so long. I saw a comment. Come on, Steve. Come on. Yeah, I'd be confident though that we could hit the ground running and come back up. I wouldn't have the arrogance of like maybe a Norwich or we just going to steamroll. We come back and fall and like a West Brom. That's why that's why I don't like teams like West Brom. They just got this given right that they should be back and forth. It's like no, you got to earn it.
The lesson, lads. The lesson is Fulham. Up and down in 5, up, down, up. And it's taken them 3 goes at it to kind of establish themselves. You know what I mean?
We got to be where Villa are now.
Yes. Villa are the one I think we should aim. We've got a similar fan base and structure to Villa.
Yes. Yeah. I saw a fantastic comment, and this is from Dino. And this was, everyone said this. Everyone said it before the start of the season. You lot predicted top 10 at the start of the season. In the comments, did you fall? I'll put my hands up. What did I say?
15th, I said. 15th.
What did I say?
I said 15th as well.
I
thought 17th.
Ben, you said top 4.
What?
You said top 4, Ben. You did.
Show me the receipts. People in the comments. Show me the receipts.
You said Champions League football.
No, I said third year. I've got a super chat. I've got a super chat from Kieran, and I don't know why Kieran's done this. Thank you for the £2, Kieran. Derby are bottling the playoff. It's none of our business. What's happened to them? Forget them. They're still in the league.
Nothing to do with this show.
It's nothing to do with this show. But thank you for the £2, Kieran, and thank you. Who cares about him? Last but not least, boys. Go on, Dylan.
Let me just say something regarding this Cooper thing. This is what I'm a Cooper man. I think he's awesome for the club. The thing is, what you've got now is we're in the promised land where Marinakis wanted to take us. That's where we are. right?
Yeah.
I believe after the Leicester game would have been easier, and I was probably one of them. I don't think he's up to this. Do you know what I mean? Regardless, right? Let's take the sentimental. There's no sentimental in football, right?
No.
What he did last season, he'll be always a hero.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But you're only as good as your last result. Simple as, yeah. So
he knows that himself.
Yeah,
Steve knows that.
So you've got to look at it now, right? Look at it through the owner's point of view, right? We're all saying, yeah, we want 17th, we want this, we want that, right? What do we want? If we stick with Steve Cooper, which I would like to, because I see a bigger picture, if we stay up, brilliant. If we go down, I believe he's a man to try and get us back up. But on the other hand, you've got an owner now sitting there going, well, we've got 10 games to go here. Looking at it, two of the home games against Arsenal and
Manchester United,
right? So,
and Brighton.
But the other two are Brighton and Southampton, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting there looking at your away record, thinking, do you know what I mean? Unless something changes, and I hope it changes Tuesday night because it's got to change sometime. So you're looking at it. You're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, he's probably sitting there thinking, well, do you know what I mean? I've got 10 games. You've got 10 games to go. What do I do? Do I stick with him? Do we sit there and go, right, whatever happens, we stick with Cooper. We go down, he's the man to bring us up. Because then if that's the case, then by all means, do you know what I mean? I'm with it. I'm with the plan. Let's go. If that's the case, what happens? But this is what I get people love him. I love Steve Cooper. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? I cried my eyes out at Wembley. Thank you for doing it.
Who didn't?
Thank you for everything you did. But people say, oh, sentimental and what he did for us and all this. He's brought this club together. But like I say, it's a result business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now if he goes, just let me get this bit out. If he goes the next 10 games now, hopefully he doesn't, but next 10 games and loses every single game.
Yeah.
Then what?
He knows that.
These people, yeah, I know he knows this, but I'm just saying, it's like people are going to be sitting there going, well, do you remember after the Wolves game? Maybe we should. Do you know what I mean? It's.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Dill, everything you say, mate, is bang on. You absolutely bang. You're talking what I'm thinking. My view is that I love Steve. He's the best we've had for 23 years.
Don't pick him up.
The sacred bus driver speaketh a lot of sense. Let me tell you that, right? He's on the Freedom bus out of town, Dylan. He's top lad, and he's right. Now, the way I look at it, I'm pro Steve Cooper. I've had loads of people basically firing bullets into my school, like the Cooper out faction, which then they're entitled to that. They're entitled to kill me whenever they want. I love Steve. I want him to say he's the best we've had since Cloughie would love him, right? But I know as well that it's a results-based business and there's no sentiment. Leicester sat Ranieri pretty soon after their title winning season, right?
This is why the Premier League is crazy, people. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what I think is the only person who's got any influence over whether Steve stays or Steve goes is Evangelos Marinakis. I've got no control over it. So while I want him to stay, and I am a sentimental old bugger because, you know, I'm all soft-heartedness, I've got no control over it. So actually, can't worry about it.
He pays the bills.
Exactly. And that's, Dill, your point about the lack of sentimentality, mate. That's where it's bang on. We love talking about the Premier League. Like Ben said, it's Premier League. We love the Premier League. We wanted to get there. We're in there now, which is fantastic. But for all of us four lads, Forest
and the chat,
and all the other people in the chat, we can talk till the cows come home, till we're blue in our faces or brown in Steve's case. It makes not a jot of difference because Mr. Marinakis is sat in his fortress in Athens or whatever, thinking, right, I'm the one. You know what I mean? It's like you go back to the Lingard signing. We're all not sure about that and all this business. We talked until we were blue in the face, and then Mr. Marinakis made it happen. So we've got no control. So I can't worry about stuff I haven't got control over. Like, somebody said to me, what if Forest go down, Dave? And I went, well, Well, I'll have to go to all the games next season then, won't I? I'll have to love them more. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%.
Someone said to me the other day about the season ticket price going up. He went, "Yeah, you know what?" He says, "I'm not." He says, "Yeah, it's gone up about 100 quid." He says, "There's a lot of money, but if you think about it, we go down the Championship, we get more games for our money." He went, "It's a win-win situation." I went, "Why is that?" He went, "Well, if we stay in the Premiership, we get to see good quality teams. We go down to the Championship, I get more games for my money. So great, isn't it?"
Yeah.
That's the point.
Dylan, Bristol City away on a Tuesday night in the pouring rain, mate. Stuff like that. Swansea in the pouring rain. You know what I mean? I mean, to be honest,
Dave, Bristol City away. Bristol City away.
Mate,
No. Right, we're not talking about Championship. We're focused on Premiership. We're staying up.
Yeah.
Right,
we are staying up.
Right, last before we go, lads. Talk about Cooper. I've got to say it. I'm gonna start with you, Steve. If we lose to Leeds, do you think Cooper's gone? I come to keep it real. Well, Steve.
Oh,
He's on the Welsh spot now.
He's on the Welsh spot now. You're back.
Give your honest opinion.
People in the comments, what do you think? Do you think
right? It could go on the manner how we lose at Leeds as well. If we do lose at Leeds, I got a funny feeling if we go down with a whimper at Leeds, yes, he's gone. If we really play up those skins, we lose, say, to a 1-0 and respectable loss, if that does exist, he might cling on. But he has got another really tough test at Villa on Saturday away. But I got a funny feeling, Ben. I'm not getting good. I don't know, with all this talk, I know you can read there, but I just see the comment as well, though, still.
I'm not going back to Stoke City away.
The only thing I would say, right, to the anti-Cooper brigade, right? Let me ask you this: is if he goes, who do you want in? And if that manager sends us down, have you gained anything from it?
Yeah.
So who are you going to bring in? Okay, people could say Rodgers is available now. Potter. These are the, who are you going to bring in? Unless we bring Pep in.
You got to look though. I wonder if the management is looking now, thinking, "Ooh, look what's just come available."
They're looking every day of the week. They're looking all the time. This is, every manager is on a knife edge all the time.
And it's been like that for the whole season.
You know what? And Ben, you agreed with this point I made the other week. If Cooper's that bad, why is he linked with Spurs? Why is he linked with Leicester?
Palace.
Why is he linked with West Ham? Why is he linked with
Steve, let me say something, right? And I'm sorry to do it, right? It was Wolves away. I'm not going to mention the guy. I'm not going to mention it. Who told me? I think Cooper was linked with 3 clubs. He was linked with 3 clubs. It was Southampton and 2 other clubs. I'm not going to say who it was. Who told me?
I think Tottenham were linked.
Yeah, no, Dave. This was Wolves away. When we played Wolves away, when we lost 1-0. Someone said to me he was linked with 3 clubs. Southampton, Wolves, because Wolves didn't have a manager by that time, and someone else. So
Palace, Ben. Palace.
And I said, Cooper, like I said, we lose. Cooper's sacked. We win. He's linked with a different club, and I keep mentioning it. He's a top manager, and he's going to do big things for whoever. Like, let's keep it real. He will leave Forest and join a big club. I'm going to keep it real. But
Liverpool. He'll be a Liverpool manager one day, Cooper.
He's a fantastic manager, and I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. Do
you know what? Sorry, Ben. Do you know where the Spurs connection comes from? I got a Spurs mate who told me is apparently Cooper's agent is good friends with someone high up at Spurs. That's why people at Spurs admire. That's why you see these reports of he's got admirers at Spurs and so on. That people are watching him carefully. But again, like I said, if he's not good enough for us, then if he goes to Spurs, then he's going to a top 4 side.
Yeah. All right, you're a top 4 side.
But it's at the end of the day, it's. I believed yesterday if he'd have lost that, I think we'd be on here talking about who's Forest going to get. But maybe I don't know. It just seems strange. They even
But for
pointed
the-
it out on radio.
I tell you,
Why is
it's good
Marinakis
that-
here? Why is
Yeah.
he here? Doesn't come to these kind of games. He only comes to the big games.
But
Why is he here?
Dill, he saw the best performance for 6 weeks. Dill, if Marinakis had gone to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and seen that, the ice under Steve's feet would have been like wafer thin. Or West Ham away. We went to those games and Forest were rank.
Well,
At
do you know
least-
what? Do you know what I believe? Right, this is what I believe. I don't want him to go. I'll stick with him, not because of the sentimental stuff or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Forget that. Last season's last season. Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
got his in.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thank you. Now we focus on today. We focus on Tuesday. We focus on these 10 games. Right? I believe he's the bigger picture. If you've got to have your contingency plan, because you've got to think to yourself, well, if we go down, he can get us back up, because I'm not some of these, most, I would say probably 60% of them new players that have come are going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? You are going to lose the likes of, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it, you're going to lose the likes of Johnson. Simple. A top club's going to come in for him, give you the big bucks for him. You're going to take it because you've just been relegated, yeah? Gibbs White, unless someone comes in and offers 45 million, because that's what we owe Wolves eventually for him, that's not going to happen. Anyway, I'm going off a bit topic here, but what I'm trying, no, but what I'm trying to say is, and we'll go back to what we said earlier. We can sit here and say, if we play well, if we don't, it's the manner of how we win, or it's the manner how we lose. I believe yesterday, the big man, the chief, the honcho, he knows exactly what he's going to do. He knows. Do you know what I mean? And yesterday afternoon, even after a draw, I'm thinking to myself, he's gone. He's gone, because you've just dropped two points, and for me, it felt like a loss. I was like, we had it in our hands. Do you know what I mean? Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And as today's gone on, you've seen other teams dropping managers. Maybe he's thought, you know what? Everyone keeps speculating. Steve Cooper, you're safe. So I'm over.
But are these same people, all right? The ones who want Cooper out, are the same fans who only a few years ago were sick and tired of us going through manager upon manager upon manager?
They are, Steve.
Yeah.
These people,
we became a standing joke because there were people who were like, manager at Nottingham Forest, less than, we have cups of tea in the day. It's ridiculous. I mean,
Watford, but
what I get
obviously
is
we were a standing joke from Frank Clark, from Harry Bassett to probably Sabri. That it was like Nottingham Forest actually had more managers than we signed players at the start of this season. Ridiculous. You know what I mean? To make it so. I mean, I don't want Steve to go. The thing with Steve is, as Dylan rightly says, the focus is the next game all the time. And, I mean, do you know what? I think we'll go to Leeds and I think we'll win 7-3. I honestly, I tell you what, what annoys me in life is you get something that becomes this away form has become.
Steve, have you watched that game yet, Steve? Have you watched the 7-3 game yet, or is Wi-Fi still not back into the
Adlin Gediuris goal, mate? I'm telling you, the theme at the start of the season was 30 players, and that theme, they got rid of that theme, right? And then it was like Cooper out, and that theme went. The theme now is the away form, and my feeling is life is so perverse. Everybody thinks, certain defeat at Leeds, certain defeat at Villa, certain defeat at Brentford, certain defeat at Chelsea, certain defeat at Palace on the last day, and somewhere along the line, Forest will get a result, and you think, shit, where's that come from? And Forest will sit in the dressing room, they'll all look at each other and go, bloody hell, we won. How did we do that? And I think Leeds United have got to be very, very careful on Tuesday night, because they think we've won this. I know an amazing guy who does a Leeds channel. He's a fantastic lad, and he really fancies them. Joe Wayman. Joe's shout out to Joe. Yeah, big shout out for Joe. He's a fantastic lad. But Joe said to me, I really fancy us on Tuesday night. And I said, I'm glad you do, Joe, because we don't appear to have any chance at Ellen Road. It's your home banker. You should win. If you don't beat Nottingham Forest, that is an absolute catastrophe for you. If Southampton don't get anything at us, that's a catastrophe for them. You know what I mean? Anybody, almost. I mean, Dill's point about Steve Cooper is right. Yeah, Mr. Marinakis might already have somebody lined up. He might change him after Leeds. If we get thumped at Leeds 4-5-0, then I mean, every manager is in danger of the sack every day of the week. And that includes Pep and it includes Klopp, because these owners, what you get with owners, there are very few owners that actually have played football and understand it. They just see business and pound notes and spreadsheets and shit like that. You know what I mean? So a lot of these decisions are made on a business basis rather than a football basis, which is where the sentimentality gets taken out. I mean, my view is if we get rid of Cooper now, like 9 games, you have to change everything again. And people go on this new manager bounce, but you know what? I mean, I'll give you an example. Queen's Park Rangers are having a shocker in the Championship, right? So they bring Gareth Ainsworth in. He's lost 8 out of the first 9. So where's the manager bounce? It doesn't always work.
Who was the manager before Ainsworth?
Neil Critchley.
Rangers.
Yeah, and
Did he go Rangers?
Yeah, but who was the one before that? Yeah, it was the one before Rangers.
Mick Beale.
There was 3. There was 3, weren't there? Mick Beale.
Mick Beale.
He went to Rangers.
I'm just using that to illustrate a point that, like, people think sack Cooper will be all right, we'll get a manager bounce. Not necessarily. Unfortunately, the only thing you can use in all of this is hindsight.
Can I just say something as well?
Last thing, go on.
Just a quick thing. We're sat here as 4 members on this panel of we all want Cooper, right? And we've literally said, they're people who don't want Cooper. They have their reasons of why they don't want Cooper.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we need to say, we've got our opinion, they've got their opinion. But at the end of the day, there's no one bigger than Nottingham Forest Football Club.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, Premier League football, Championship football, come next season, we'll all still be there.
100%.
Absolutely.
I got the mic. I'm done.
He's done.
That was Shakespeare. But Dylan, I'm going to all the matches next year. And do you know what? Renewing your season card was such
I'm not a good man yet. I've not even people in the panel. People in the chat. I've not renewed my season card yet, but I am. I am going to every game, and I'm going to every away game as well. So,
Do you know what, though, right? My final say is I'm not getting the same vibes, though. I'm sure there are Forest fans out there. I'm not getting the same vibes as some West Ham, even Spurs with Conte. I'm not getting the vibes that there's a Forest fan out there hoping we go to Leeds to get thumped so we get sacked. Because going back to the West Ham game we played, I got a West Ham mate who said to me he hopes we won that game so his boys would get sacked.
Steve, there's loads of West Ham fans.
Yeah. We got that at the London Stadium, Steve. There were people coming up and saying, we hope Forest win today. And you did right. And I tell you what, mate.
And he's gone now. So
there hasn't been, I said this last week to somebody, I've not heard in the City ground or in an away ground any Cooper out, not seen any Cooper out banners, no Cooper out songs, none.
Dave, I live a stone throw away from the ground. Ben knows I do. Right, literally yesterday, just before the ground, I was out in my garden, right? All I could hear was Steve Cooper's name being shouted. So what that tells you, Marinakis is probably pissed off. Yeah, I don't blame him. He's spending millions and whatever. He's probably sat in that stadium and gone, maybe this isn't the best decision because I've got 30,000 people still screaming his name.
Yeah, and actually, Dill, it's a good point you make.
Round it off.
Yeah, I'll just finish by saying we might say we've got no influence over Marinakis, but you know what? Who kept Cooper in his job in October? The 3,300 who went to the King Power that night. I honestly think that. So maybe we do have some influence, but as you say, lads, when it comes down to it, it's not my club. It's my club in the heart.
It's our club in the heart.
But in the wallet and in the checkbook, it's Mr. Marinakis' club. You know what I mean?
And we got to thank him, and we've basically got to thank him, Mr. Marinakis, for everything he's done for this club.
He's been a brilliant. He's taken us to the promised land, so we can 100%. Never knock him.
100%. And that has ended the show. You know what? Thank you for everyone for doing that. I still like, and I said before I go, people who got upset with my tweets about bloody TalkSport and Tony Cassarino, get a good sense of humour, please. Just put your dumb
pointing out the obvious.
Yeah. It's all opinions. All opinions.
People, man. And just have a little good sense of humour. But I end it there. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I'll be with a Leeds fan. Because one dropped out because he's not well. So if anyone is a Leeds fans,
there's an omen.
I did message Joe, but Joe's busy. So if anyone is in Leeds fans, please message me. Like I am struggling at the moment, so please do DM me on Twitter. And
hopefully they are Tuesday night.
Yeah,
hopefully they are struggling.
Please do. Right, Dave, Steve, and Dylan. Thank you everyone as well for coming to the channel. As well, people. Like I said, me and Dave will be there at Ellen Road on Tuesday. So if there's any Forest fans, please do. If you see Dave, talk to Dave. Dave can talk whatever. No, don't talk to Dave. Don't talk to Dave.
Got no other life. I've got no other life.
I'm sure.
I mean, after I finish this, I'm going to watch Grace on catch up. I've been watching. I've been catching up with Picard. I am the saddest loser there's ever been. Honestly,
you're not a sad loser. You're great.
I'm going to watch the last episode of The Night Agent.
Of what, Del? What are you watching, mate?
The Night Agent. Night Agent on Netflix.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Steve, what are you watching, Steve?
WrestleMania?
No, I can't step a WrestleMania tonight. I go work tomorrow.
No, Steve still. There's an inside joke. Steve has got the internet and he's still in 1995. So Steve, you watching?
I'm gonna watch Brookside now. It's on. It's on Channel 4.
All right.
Steve, are you going to watch Hinterland, I Mice Quarai and Probably Come?
Yeah.
Jonathan.
I'm going to watch Scorio. I'm going to, Scorio.
Oh, mate. When I lived in Wales.
Just watch Gavin and Stacey. That's it.
What's in there?
Can I just tell you, boys, quick one? I got tagged today on Facebook. There's another Forest fan in Neath, and he took his coat off the pub, and they took a photo of it and sent it to me. And they're all taking a mix saying, there's another Forest fan in Neath, and he's standing there proud as punch with his Forest top like that.
Is it? Is it on your Twitter page? Is it on your Twitter page?
Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, Facebook people. I'll get it. I'll put it on my Twitter.
Yeah. And I know I've seen him around town a few times, but
is it Paul Thorburn, Steve?
No, it's not Paul.
Right, it's been a pleasure, people. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dylan. And thank you, Steve. Like I said, I'll be back 9 o'clock tomorrow with a Leeds preview. Hopefully, I can find a Leeds fan. But if anyone knows, send him my way. It'd be great.
Leeds 3, Forest 7.
Come on.
I'm praying.
I
believe, like I said, hopefully that's it. We can get a possible result and onwards. Thank you, everyone. Before you do go, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hopefully we can get a great result at last against Leeds. Peace and love, people, and up the Forest.